Hello, this is part 2 of meeting Mr. John Hunt. This is his life. Our panel tonight is Tig O'Reilly at the end, my dad Willie Joe Casey, Mr. John Hunt, and his granddaughter Bridget O'Brien here, and I'm Teresa Flynn. We left off last time where John Hunt was telling us about his escapades in jail, and we were left wondering how he made it from Ireland back to, or over to America. But before we go there, behind us you'll take a look at the needlepoint that John did in jail, made from Irish linen handkerchiefs, needlepoint freehand. And John, you can go ahead and tell us how those needlepoints began.
Yeah, Teresa, I'm glad to be here again tonight anyway. But it took a long time to make those, many years. But of course, my life was controlled to a certain extent. But to pass away the time, we did various handicraft work, such as embroidery, and we used to get in silver coins. We'd get silver coins, silver pounds that time, silver, and we used to make rings. We made rings, beautiful rings, made Clara rings. We had some very good fellas inside that. But the last night I tried to get as much told as I could about prison life. Of course, prison life with us was, we were all political prisoners, and there were some highly educated men there, such as I mentioned before, the University College Cork professor, and the man from Galway University, Martin Coyne, and then you had Clements. Now, those were intellectuals, and they used to hold classes. We used to hold classes, they used to hold classes. So, young fellas that came out of farm communities and things like that, that didn't get a chance of going to school, when they went in there to the internment camp and went to some of those classes, they kept for the same as going through a university. It was known as the University of the Curragh.
Yeah.
That's what it was known as. There was one little fella came in one day. We could see him coming down the hill, the new prisoners, and we'd be watching the new prisoners coming in. Nor did we know them, you see, because they were all IRA men and went to see what we know. We saw this little guy coming down one time, and all we saw was a mattress moving. We didn't see the guy. You see, you got your mattress, they give it to you outside, and you took in your mattress and everything with you. But this fella, he put a mattress over his head. He was very small, and the mattress, all we saw moving was the mattress coming down along. And Philip says to me, Jesus, I wonder who's behind the mattress. He says, who the hell is behind this mattress? So we were watching it, and the fella that was behind the mattress, he was from Belfast. Dan O'Toole was his name. Turned out to be a very famous man after, but O'Toole had a class on physics. He used to teach physics. That I just mentioned that to give you an idea what was going on. You had teachers there who taught English, and then you had it was an institution, you could say, of higher learning, because that's what it was. I went in there, I didn't know any Gaelic. I come out a fluent Gaelic speaker. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
They set up a camp. They set up one of the huts. There were so many huts. They set up one. I think we had 2 huts where there'd be 60 prisoners in each hut. He had his bed, and then the prisoner next to him. But there was not smoking in that hut, only Gaelic. No English, no nothing. You had another hut where they spoke all French. There was people, fellas there that went into that hut. And that was the way that life was for us. That's the way we had to make it after we'd been sentenced. But, you know, the next part of my life that I'll be telling you about tonight it's away from what I explained to you. But before I going to that part of my life, I would like to say that I'll never forget, and I never forgot what happened to me while I was incarcerated. There was one creed that I have. I have a creed, one creed. You have the Catholic Church, they have the Apostles' Creed. I have my own creed. Here it is. Who dares to say forget the past to men of Irish spirit? Who dares to say cease fighting for your place upon this earth? Let the remembrance be your watchword and your dead will never fail. Let their graves to you be milestones on a blood-soaked one-way trail. Remember how Owen Roe fought. Portleicester Mill beside, no man can say a coward fell when Hugh O'Donnell died. Remember Root and Sarsfield and forget whoever will that glorious stand at Limerick and at Kilmacaddon Hill. But then by men we trusted, this land of ours was sold. They sold their friends to enemies like Judas did of old, and on their own who still were true they turned and shot them down. 78 in all were murdered by the hirelings of the crown. Remember how in Kerry they killed our lads like swine. Remember Ballyseedy where they tied them to a mine, where Rory, Liam, Dick and Joe, to glutton imperial beast, were murdered while in prison on our Blessed Lady's feast. Who dares to say forget the past to men of Irish spirit? That's that part of that segment.
That was
Very well done, John. Very well done. Very, very well done.
Now I have to move on to the next part.
You will have to live up to now by the second band. That'll be good.
No, before you go,
I don't
John.
remember what I had for breakfast this morning. There were 9
Before you go, John, I would like for you to retell the story about when you got out from the University of Curra and you came back to Athy and you went to revive the Valley of Knockanur commemoration. Please tell that about yourself and your friend Jerry Walsh.
Yeah. Well, you see, that up to that I'd be about, I'd be coming on to 24 years of age, 25 years of age now. As I said to you, I was get out about 1945, sometime around that. But all commemorations were banned because they were organising grounds. The government at the time figured out that those commemoration sites were organising grounds for the Republican movement, so they banned them all. But I lived pretty close to Gotteglanna. That's where my father took me. I explained that in the section without going through. And by the Kerry border, the organisation in Tralee, they decided to have to revive the Gotteglanna commemoration. That's where, behind my back, you will see it there, Gotteglanna, where the 4 provinces, you can see the list, you just distinguish. You have Munster, Ulster, Leinster and Connacht. And you have the names, the 3 names there, Dalton, Welsh and Lyons. But it was decided to hold a commemoration there, and they asked me to know would I take charge of the commemoration. It was advertised all over, so it was held in Knockanur. Knockanur is a small village. The Valley of Knockanur is a small village. So I got a group from Athy, and I marched a group from Athy, about 17 or 18, you know, we marched back to Knockanur. But there was at least over 1,000 people, I'd say, showed up at the commemoration. And they had there was a meeting held, and I was appointed in charge of that. So, now, you see, I was in the room, I was in the move, I was moving around pretty fast. So, anybody at this that was an IRA man, they couldn't say he was an IRA man, because there was as many detectives there as there was people there, on a special squad. So, this fella, Jerry Welsh, Willie John, who knows who I'm talking about, who was in jail with me for years. Johnny was there, and I said to Johnny, I said, I'll jump out in the middle of the street out there, and I'll give the order, fall in. I said, Johnny, and you come right stand for me, and I bet you they'll all do it. Jeez, he said, all right. So I jumped out in the middle of the street anyway. I gave the order. You'd think it was rehearsed for months before. Everybody, they were all in. You know what I mean? Then I gave the order, attention, and and down to. But we went down to Gortaglana, marched them on down to Knockanroad, down to Gort. And the man that gave the oration that day was a man from Tralee. His name is, I think of it now, Dick Edgar. Dick Edgar was his name. He was in prison too. Dick Edgar. He gave the. So when I stood up in the ditch, after getting to Gortaglana where the three guys were shot, I gave the order that you know what I mean. And I was never back from courage. I saw the detectives down there, and I said, we might have people here today that are amongst us here, but we mightn't want them here, but they're welcome anyway. You know what I mean? We're not giving a damn about them. But anyway, I got away. I escaped out of there. I got away. But that was the end of my life there. After that, things started to slow down, because, as I said, the government stated that they had the organisation that was going to break them physically and mentally, and we didn't do much. There wasn't much activity with the organisation after that, not much. But now, where do I come in now? Is this that after that I went to Dublin. My people had moved from Athy and they were living in Dublin. I was living down with Patrick Donner. I was living with Patrick Donner. So, as you know, I told you where I spent my time as a shoemaker.
Saving souls.
Yes, saving souls for the last, So, and then John Joe Sheehan, somebody got me a job with the New Ireland Insurance Company.
Right, selling insurance.
So I sold insurance, I was selling insurance. But I was going with a girl there. She was a very good looking girl, very good looking. I think. But she had 7 or 8 sisters. I insured every one of them. So every one of them I insured, I got a pound.
Did you know that before you came?
I got a pound for every insurer. But anyway, I was going there for, I would say, going over there maybe 9 or 10 months or so. How can the insurance and everything like that? So she said, I remember she said, I said we should, my life was very shaky now, you see, because you'd after been locked in for 4 years now. You just picture a dog that you have a dog tied up in a leash and you let him loose, he's going to go. You understand?
He might never come back.
So then I was the same. So I took off. Now, it was very hard for me. I couldn't get a passport. They wouldn't give me a passport because when I was going on with Annie O'Connor, I tried to get a passport so the two of us could go to England or do something. I thought, so I couldn't get a passport. So life has changed now. From the time I was born up to 8 months ago, I was completely controlled by some other body. My parents, they told me what to do. My teachers in school told me what to do. The warders in the prisons told me what to do. The government told me what to do. So I am here now at 25 years of age. And I'm free. And I'll prove it to you by the rest of my conversation. I'm free. I didn't care about nothing. I had no future. I had no notion of getting married, no notion of settling down. I had nothing. My pockets were empty. All I had was my strength, and away I go. No matter what I do in Ireland after that year, I could get a job, and I wouldn't be in the job 2 weeks when there'd be a detective coming up to the owner of the company or something and say, have you John Horn working here? I was fired the next day. So I was controlled every way you were. Now, as you'll find out at the end of my conversation, at the end of my story, you will find out what kind of a man I am. I couldn't get a passport, but I have to get out of Ireland. How am I going to do it? There's where it starts. I go to a place called Warren Point. County Down. I'm hanging around there. I met this seaman, probably a bit prearranged, and I don't know how I met him, but I met him. I asked him where was he going, where's he going? He said Swansea. That's in Wales.
Yeah, yeah. There's be a ferry go from Cork to Swansea.
I went aboard the ship, he stood me in a locker room. He stood me in a locker room. My seat in that night, I'll never forget it, that night, was as wide as this table. And I have my hands and my legs up like that. I'm sitting inside that while she's going over across to Wales. I got off of that ship, small little ship, it was a coastal ship, not a deep sea ship, a coastal ship. I got off of that in Wales. Nothing in my pockets, okay, nothing. Hitchhike, got out on the road, main road for London. Hitchhike to London, okay. The driver never asked me any questions. I fell asleep, probably slept all the way. We got to London, he let me off. I said, I thanked him and he got off. I was very tired. I remember it. I saw a construction site. I went into the construction site and I looked for a job. Construction, that time in England, anybody could get a job there because they were tearing down all the air raid shelters.
Oh, right.
And they were building all kinds of things after the bombing.
Right.
So anybody could get a job. I went in. And I wasn't inside there 5 minutes when I found out that I was asked a question, what's your name? I gave a different name. Give him some other name. They gave me, I didn't ask many questions, you see. Don't ask questions. They gave me a slip. I looked at it. They put up the workers in hostels. I mean, look, I have my bed for the night. Do you understand me? My bed. They took us from the site to the hostel. There was a lot of Irish guys working there, working at that site. I stayed in the hostel, got my ticket to go to the canteen, got my food and everything. Then made a lunch for us to take away with us the next day, going to work and everything. But I was there for about 3 weeks, and construction was not for me. I'll tell you the truth. I never worked.
Was it tough?
You understand me?
Was it tough going?
Oh, you know what I mean.
There's nothing on the needlepoint, huh?
Well, I tell you how I got, and I'll tell you, I wouldn't get out of there without giving this limey a rough time. All I had there was Paddy here, Paddy there, and Paddy everywhere. Do you understand me? So I was walking along with a 2x4 one day, and he says to me, Paddy, can you not take 2 of them? I said, yes, and you sitting up on top of them. I said, can you take 2? I said, yes, and you sitting up on top of them. I threw them all out the door. So,
Graduated.
oh, I graduated from there. But anyway, when I went back to the thing that night, back to the hostel that night, I was telling this guy, and he says, "Jesus," he said, "You know what? I'll quit with you." He says to me, he says, "I'll quit with you." I says, "Why would you quit with you?" He says, "There's a big road job going on down in Brighton." Brighton.
She said, "Report."
So I went off down, I said, we took off down to Brighton. I got my money and we went off down to Brighton. And there was a big road job going on. It was only about 4 or 5 weeks anyway, but it was all this asphalt and tar and everything. But we made pretty good money. But Brighton is a big seaside resort, you see. And now I wasn't into work. I was not into work. So we got through with that job, and we went down, myself and this fella, I think it's Kelly was his name, isn't it? We were sitting down on the beach, the big beach in Brighton, and we're down the fine day, I'll never forget it. And we were sitting down, and this guy come along, and he said, "Hi there," this guy, he says, 2 Irish guys. We took down him. So the guy says, do you guys need a job? Kelly said, no, we don't need no job.
Not today.
No, not today. We don't need no job. So he says, well, he said, in case you do, he said, they're looking for extras in a movie, Brighton Rock. He gave us the 2 tickets. He said, in case you feel like going there, he said, it's out in Luce. Luce is outside Brighton. He said, go there. So
Movie star
Kelly, well, while you hear the story, Kelly says, who's in the movie? And the guy says, Richard Attenborough. Kelly says, we're going, John. So we had the pass, we had the ticket, we had the thing. So we took the bus out to Lewis race course. It was the race course. And I remember we were all extras. They were shooting this thing. They had it set up like the camera down now, but they had it shut. But they put a board on me. They had a board on me. I had a sign. The penalty of sin is death. Salvation Army. I'm telling the truth now. You see? Salvation Army. Okay. So. We finished but then I know that they cut that part out, but I think they cut that part out. But anyway, when we came back into to Brighton, and there's a Palace Pier in Brighton. Palace Pier. Oh, the Palace Pier. And there's all amusements in the Palace Pier. So I went out looking for a job, and I got a job. And I got a stall. They put me in charge of a stall called Bunty. Bunty. Now, Bunty, they had a table like this, and on this, they'd have a string going out across the table and going down, and they'd have a string on this going up, a string on this. So, I'd be standing in front, and I'd say, 6pence for the pick. All you pick, you'll win a prize, you're bound to win a prize. You won a prize, all right. You might have won a comb or won something. So I was so good at it that they came over one day and they told me, you got a cam at Irish. Because you drawn all the crowd. You know what I mean? I was putting it on to the limeys. I was putting it on. You know what I mean? I was really... But anyway, you see, the change came again. A terrible change came. Mentally, change. I gotta get out of here. Gotta get out of here. Too long locked up. Behind the stall. Too much like the jail. Get out of here. I could get going. Whatever money I had, I went to Liverpool, went up to Euston Station, not Euston Station, the station in London or whatever. But I took
Kingsbridge Station.
Huh?
Kingsbridge Station.
Some name. I went to Liverpool. But I got drunk the night before, to understand me. And I was broke. And I went on the train, and when they looked for a ticket, I had no ticket. So the cops were waiting for me when I arrived in Liverpool. Came out, riding the train. They held me up. I think it was £10 or £5 or something to go down the train. I had taken before the judge in the morning. He said, You'll have to work it off. You have to work it off in jail or whatever. You have to work the fare off. So as I made a phone call and somebody paid my bill, I came out of the jail. Now, I came out of the jail in Liverpool, went to the docks, down to the docks, and I saw this ship. This is the start of my career when I'm moving. Going to Dublin. Now, I told you I came from one point, I went in there illegal, so I'm leaving it illegal. The hatch was open and I went down below on the hatch and I didn't know where to. When it stopped, then the next morning when it stopped, when they opened the hatches and the stevedores, I got up, I was in Dublin. I was in Dublin. Shot immediately to the New Ireland Insurance Company, knowing that they owed me a lot of money for the pounds that I collected from my girlfriends. You see, this is all true story. Got my money. I think I got about 45 pounds or something. I had. It was some escape, but about 45 pounds. Where did I hit for when I got the 45 pounds? Ballybunnan. Ballybunnan. Put in my pocket back to Ballybunnan. Drinking away in Ballybunnan. Drinking away. The school teacher at home came up to me, Paddy Mon, and he taught me, he was a great friend of mine. He came up to me and he says, John, I want you to meet a cousin of yours. I says, Paddy, I know all the cousins I want to know. I don't want to meet any more of my cousins. He says, you never met this cousin before. I says, who is he? He says, I'm not going to tell you. He says, he's above it, Pat Diggins's. That's another pub up the street. I came out, went up with him. I'm drunk, I'm kind of drunk. Went into Pat Diggins's and he introduced me to this man, Eric Hartigan, a first cousin of mine. I told you about Mrs. Hartigan. Mm-hmm. Eric Hartigan was missing for many years. He was thrown out. His mother, all our family were very peculiar. He was an only son, and he got the door. He married a girl that he wasn't supposed to marry, according to the family. Right. And he got the door. And his mother died, and they were looking for Eric for 7 years. They were looking for him for 30 years, but for 7 years from the time that the mother died. She left all the money to the mother. The mother left all the money to Eric if he was found. And if he wasn't found, the rest of the money was to go to Mrs. Hunt. That was my mother. Because my mother was the only one that had a family with Edward Hunt.
Right.
It was a lot of money. But I didn't know that now when I'm going up to Eric Hartigan. I didn't know that, but I knew all about Eric Hartigan. So he was delighted to see me two drunks now. And he was a fella that was after being missing for years. He had gone through all the routing houses and everything in London that, you know what I mean? I didn't start in this game much yet because I told you where I went. I went to St. Luke, went to Lewis Races, and I went in a movie with Richard Attenborough. I went over to the Palace Pier. I worked in the Palace Pier. So there was a place, Diggins, his place in Ballybunnan, the pub in Ballybunnan. They had a place up in the top of the third floor called Boozer's Gloom. All the drunks went up there. No chance. You slept up there and you came down when you were sober and you drank again and went up again. So Eric come along to me and he says, oh yeah, I went up and Eric and I slept in the same bed that night. But I saw what he did, and as much as I thought I knew, I'm learning, you see, I'm learning. He put his hand in his pocket, he got the money, you see. He got the money, the mother's money. And my mother was delighted that he got the money, she did. She said, Eric, sure. He took him, he didn't get it all together, he went to the bank, but he always had a couple of hundred with him. So he took the money out of his pocket that night. This is the first time I saw it, you see. I wasn't used to the road now much because the only experience I had at the road was going over to and working at the construction for 3 or 4 weeks, going down to Brighton, and all this happened in the course of a month or a couple of months. He took all the money out, took his sock off, put all the money into his sock and threw the sock over there like that. All his money in the sock, that's the way he hid it. If they came in searching when he was drunk, they'd search his clothes, they'd never think of looking at his sock.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
So,
If I'm never in your house, I'll be checking your tap.
I learned that, you know, I learned that part again. So, that was fine now. Now,